Hello, everybody. Hello. I am excited about today. I thought I was excited about yesterday, but today I am really excited about this live because we have a lot of things to talk about, a lot of things to go over, some lengthy things to get into, and I'm going to get this video going because I kept you guys like almost a full hour yesterday. If you're watching this day 6 of Depeche Mode Live, you're watching this day 6 and you haven't seen day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, I do suggest that you go on my YouTube channel, on Melanin Monarchy YouTube channel. Hi Neil, that you go on my Melanin Monarchy YouTube channel and you revisit those. That way you'll get the background to what these lives are all about. And so I'm going to also let you know right now, these lives are to prep you for the Depeche Mode convention that is happening in 2 days. Dos days. In 2 days on Sunday, December 15th, at the Avalon in North Hollywood, starting at 6 p.m. That is the purpose of these lives are to prep you for that, but also to have conversations about Depeche Mode, because we don't get to do this. We don't get to sit down. I wish I had more people around me and we can talk about these subjects. And hey, if you guys want to join in, definitely let me know if you want to join in and we want to do a whole Depeche Mode confab, because I am all for talking more Depeche Mode, talking more about the music, more about the lyrics, more about, you know, all the artistry that went into the music over these past 40 something years, about the band, you know, just everything about Depeche Mode, people who are connected with them, you know, past members, present members, all those types of things. That's what I'm all about. But let's go ahead on this Depeche Mode Day, because today is the Depeche Mode Day. For all you guys that live in other places around the world, even if you're living on the East Coast, it's like 9 p.m. on the East Coast. If you're living in the UK, what time is it in the UK? It's like, what, 8 hours ahead of us. If you're living in Australia, if you're living in New Zealand, if you're living in West Africa, if you're living in South Africa, if you're living in Asia somewhere, if you're living up in Russia, Greenland, Finland, Iceland, wherever you're living in Southern California, it is Depeche Mode Day. December 13th is Depeche Mode Day. So we are going to get into that, but first we're going to go ahead and do a quick review of the Depeche Mode convention that is occurring this Sunday, as I said, on the 15th. So we're going to go through who is going to be at the convention and what is going to be going on really quick. We know Richard Blade is going to be emceeing. We know that we have a number of DJs. We have Alex Transistor, Stephen Wayne. We have Larry G. Jose Shooting, why aren't you on this? Why aren't you on this list? What the heck? You think you can sit down? You think you can sit down and enjoy yourself and not be DJing? So we have Larry G. We have Love Lee from Las Vegas. We have DJ Jedi. We have Protocol. And we have DJ Dark Crystal. We also have Jay Tandle. He's going to be doing the karaoke that happens on the second floor, you guys. And right around the corner from where karaoke is, that's where your queen is going to be. I'm going to be doing live from the convention. I'm going to be talking to you. I am going to be interviewing you. Also, you guys, there's on the first floor, there's tons of merch. You guys, I suggest you walk around, you do your walkthrough before you get settled into a place that you definitely walk through, and you see and check out everything. Peach is going to be doing some giveaways for the first 101 attendees that she sees. If you up, you playing games, you up in the bathroom, you somewhere, you in the bathroom doing other things or whatever, and she don't see you in all those neat little giveaways that she has. Actually, they're pretty spectacular. She's giving away 101 to the first 101 attendees that she sees. So when you see Peach, you see her table, you see where she's set up at. She has a great giveaway. And what I'm also going to do for the first 5 people that comes up and that are interviewed, I'm going to give away a concert bag. This is the Melanin Monarchy concert bag, you guys. It has a drawstring. You just put it on your back. You put all of your merch and everything inside of this clear bag. It's good for you guys to keep for other concerts, and that is what's going on at the convention. If I miss anything, you guys, I am sorry. I just got to run through real quick because we do have a bunch of things that we have to talk about, and I'm going to go ahead and put on my spectacles, right? And I'm going to read on my little notes. So like I said, today, December 13th, is Depeche Mode Day. So last year, for those of you who were able to make it out there, it was on a Wednesday. It was on a Wednesday, I believe. Was it on a Wednesday, you guys? It was on a weekday. And a lot of us bum rushed Los Angeles, downtown Los Angeles, where it was going to be Depeche Mode Day. Now, we all knew that this was going to happen because of the tour, their last concerts. They had 3 concerts, 2 or 3, in that area at the Forum, different places. So they had concerts. So they went ahead and made Depeche Mode Day later on in the year. However, it was still up in the air whether the guys were going to show up. But Councilwoman Monica Rodriguez was able to get it passed to declare December 13th Depeche Mode Day in Los Angeles. So that's what it is today. If you go on Facebook, you go on Instagram, you go on TikTok, you're going to see a lot of the devotees that were there that day posting their pictures, their videos. You can also go on YouTube, and I know I went on YouTube to see some things, and I saw my homie Flo was there. You couldn't miss her because she had red hair. So I saw Flo, I saw Ellie, who you also couldn't miss because she had on her Martin Gore hat. And so me and my brother, we went up there. We were having a great time for Depeche Mode Day. There was a lot of things that were going on for Depeche Mode Day. You had Richard Blade there because he was responsible for playing a lot of the music, a lot of the things that occurred back in the 80s. Richard Blade was right there. So, of course, you had Richard Blade, and you also had Oscar, who was there because, you know, he's responsible for the Hollywood Star. You know, Oscar, he was in for, he got Richard Blade's Hollywood Star, and it took him, 11 years? 7 years? 11 years, something like that. It took him a long time to get Depeche Mode's star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, but he kept with it, and there it was. He was able to get it, and it was before it was announced. It wasn't announced last year at this time. That Hollywood Star to Depeche Mode was announced earlier this year, and we are so happy that Oscar stood with it. He kept with it, even when it looked dark. He was still with it, and so he was up there too. Everybody from Los Angeles took the day off, but if you could not take that day off, or if you were not in the Los Angeles area at that time, or maybe somehow you missed it, you didn't know until the day after or whatever the next day that it was Depeche Mode Day, then you can definitely look that up on YouTube and see what that is all about. But it was amazing. All of us were out there. There was quite a bit of people. They blocked off a couple of streets for the fans. The fans were there. I saw Freddie out there. I saw everybody. Ray. Everybody. I saw everybody out there. Everybody came up. They took the time to go up there and also be there because the guys actually did show up. I had the inside that they were going to show up anyway. But anyway, so here, you guys, I'm coming all the way from San Diego. So I'm a little late. I got to go pick up my brother. He's somewhere else, and we got to go drive down there. I'm getting calls all that morning. And I left early, but I had to drive from San Diego. I left early, and people like, girl, where you at? I'm like, oh my gosh, we've been here since 6 o'clock. Where you at? You know, and so all the Depeche Mode homies were blowing me up and say, hey, you late, where you at? You know, so I was like, I'm coming. Trying to blame it on my brother, but that wasn't the case. It was because it was me, right, driving. So that was great. It was a wonderful day. If you have not caught that video of the Depeche Mode Day last year, I definitely suggest that you go on YouTube, you check it out. It was great. But let's go ahead. Let's talk about the things that I talked about yesterday. So yesterday, day 5, if you haven't seen day 5, definitely go on my YouTube channel. You can also see it here on Instagram. You can see it Facebook, Melanin Monarchy Facebook page. Talking about one of the main topics that we talked about yesterday was Martin blackness. Martin being black. He's basically not only is he mixed race, he's also, you know, mixed national. You know, mother grew up in United States. I mean, in the UK. His mother's from the UK. His daddy's from the United States. His daddy was over there, did his little thing, you know, and then he dipped. And so we went ahead and we talked a lot about that. We talked about, is it important that he is black? Not really, but, you know, in this society, for whatever reason, we're obsessed with race. I think is wrong. I think we should not be obsessed with the pigmentation of somebody. And I also expressed that I don't really hear him talked about. Now, somebody contacted me on my YouTube channel, and they said that yes, there is an interview with Martin talking about his heritage. Dave also talking about his heritage, because apparently they did like a 23andMe or something like that, and they found out all the different ins and out of their blood. So there is something out there. I have not seen it yet. When I do see it, I would definitely let you guys know. But as far as we know, it's not something that Martin talks about a lot. But what we were basically talking about is that people go through those same experiences, not knowing who your biological parent is. The pain of that, it's even as an adult, when you find out as an adult, there is pain that does come with that. And so it would be a very sensitive topic for him. And so I don't know if he's, ready to put it out there and really freely talk about it. But it does seem like that the way he carries on with it, that there has been a lot of forgiveness. And I'm not saying that there was anything with his mother, because these things happen. We don't know the situation of how that occurred. We don't know all the truth, all the ins and out of that situation. But apparently Martin seems as though he's walking in forgiveness. And how we know he's walking in forgiveness is because he saw his father out, and he went to go meet his father, who apparently was living down south in the United States somewhere. And he actually met his father. The only word that came from that was somebody said that Martin looks just like his father, which we all know is possible. Doesn't matter the pigmentation of your skin. We know that it is possible. And we're glad, and we talked about it yesterday, that we're glad that Martin did go and meet his father. He could have been like, look, I don't want to know what it's all about. My life has been going fine. I'm cool with it. But he did actually go meet his father. And we were talking about, basically that's a spirit of forgiveness and also reconciliation. When you want to be reconciled with all the truth of who you are, right? All the truth of who you are. And so I was watching someone earlier today, Juanita Bynum. She was talking about the ministry of reconciliation, and I was thinking about Martin and how he was living that out. He was definitely, we don't know what the conversation was with his father, but we know that he actually went to go see his father, whether it was his father's camp, trying to actually get in contact with him. The point is that he did make the connection. So he did reconcile. But going back to the Depeche Mode Day that happened last year, we're talking about reconciling, right? We're talking about forgiveness. During that day, I'm pretty sure that their heart was touched by all the people that was out there, all the people who weren't sure if they were actually going to show up, everybody who took time out of their morning to actually go see them. And they seemed really humble in their speech and what they were saying. But Martin did most of the speaking. He talked a lot about, he was very gracious. He recognized K-Rock and Richard Blade for helping their career. He recognized, a lot of the start in Los Angeles and what Los Angeles has done. He was all smiles. He was cheesing, even though a lot of people kept throwing out, I love you, we love you. It was like that every second. And he was very, very cheesy. If you guys know Martin, he is very humble. He does smile quite often. But I thought it was interesting that Dave only spoke for a second. And Dave, let me quote Dave. This is what Dave said. He said, when Martin gave the mic to Dave, Dave said, I could have done with this kind of support back in the 90s. That's what he said. I could have done with this kind of support back in the 90s. And I think that what he was really talking about, if you guys are a devotee, is the 90s weren't his best in his life. There was he heavy drug user, really heavy drug user. He had grown his hair out long, and he also, his heart stopped a couple of times, using as many drugs as he did. And in the summer of 1996, that's the year I graduated from college, but in the summer of 1996, he actually died. He died. They had to rush him. I believe it was to Cedars-Sinai Hospital in Los Angeles. They revived him. And after he was in the hospital, they arrested him. arrested Dave gone. They arrested him. And they arrested him for drug possession. They were going to charge him with a felony drug possession. They were saying it was cocaine or whatever, but it was they really haven't said how much drugs was in his possession when he was picked up by the ambulance after having his heart stopped. But yeah, so Dave, after that, it seemed like, you know, he went to a rehabilitation center. He was cleaning himself up, and then he moved away from his drug buddies. He moved away from all his drug buddies in Los Angeles, and he moved on the other side of the country, which is New York. Not to say that there isn't drugs all over the place, but you know who your homies are. You know who you need to get rid of and who you need to move away from in order to get your mind and heart and spirit and stuff together. So he did that. He actually moved away. And then again, that's what I kind of think when he was saying he would have liked that kind of support when he was being charged by the city of Los Angeles for felony drug possession. But he also could have meant that, you know, a lot of people, especially in the industry, a lot of artists saw his downward spiral. They saw how skinny he was. They saw him held up in a hotel for weeks on end, you know, doing heroin, doing cocaine or whatever. And many people have said, look, you got to get yourself together. We you know, we're going to drag you out of here. We're going to throw you into a center and get you some help. But hey, he was grown at that time. I'm pretty sure a lot of people said it over his lives, his mother, his family. A lot of people had said, you need to get clean. And what can you do when people, with grown folks, right? You grown, you decide, you got the money, right? You have the influence because you are a famous artist and you just want to get high. That's the only thing you want to do, is you want to get high. So he could have been talking about more support and that. And that's why I would love for, you know, him to write an autobiography on that. Maybe he's not interested in that because he would have to tell on some folks. I don't know. So, but we were happy to see that. And so you can see a lot of the what they went through, you know, him wanting to get clean. You can see that in the music. Of course, there's a song Clean from Violator. Then you also have Walking in My Shoes from Songs of Faith and Devotion. So you can see that, you know, Dave has said on several occasions that when Martin is writing these songs and he gives them the demo, he's like, you know, are you writing about me? Are you writing about your life? And they're not living together. It's not like they're roommates. Martin is just writing. And a lot of times, you know, there's been a few times where Martin has said it does seem prophetic. Like some of the things that he's written do seem like he has an insight, and he's not taking any credit for it. It's just that these are the words, these are the lyrics that have come into his head. And we know that there's a lot of imagery in the Depeche Mode music and in the lyrics. And that's what brings us to our main topic today, is talking about one particular imagery. So we have a lot of themes and imagery in the music. You have love, you know, romance, romantic love, physical love. You have social, political, and you also have faith. You have faith, a lot of faith. Anybody who's a Depeche Mode fan, anybody who has listened to any of their music for a long time has seen that there is a lot of Christian themes within their music. Now, I went ahead and I counted, and I wanted to see how many songs that could I count on all 15 of the albums. Remember, you guys, they have 15 studio albums. Not talking about the other, you know, side gigs or solo gigs and things like that, but just the Depeche Mode studio albums. How many songs could I count that I could definitely say were have a Christian theme to them, have a faith theme? And I counted over 50, you guys. So I'm going to read off to you some that I thought. Now, it's interesting that their first album, you know, we all know that Vince did all of the writing. Maybe Martin did one song, but Vince did the writing on Speak and Spell. So there isn't any of those Christian themes. I don't even think when you listen to Yaz or you listen to Erasure, if you really see any of those Christian themes. However, Vince did do a solo album earlier this year, late last year, that came out, and it was laden with Christian themes. So, but in Speak and Spell, there weren't any Christian themes. In A Broken Frame, there is a meaning of love that has, you could say, you know, touches on that. I think Martin was really filling it out. Then in Construction Time Again was very social, political, but it did have Told You So. There's an MLK reference in there, so I counted that one. Some Great Reward. Of course, there's two main songs that I saw that had some Christian theme, and that Stories of Old. I mean, it's really talking about probably Prince Edward the Eighth, who abdicated his throne for Wallace Simpson. He may be touching on that Martin's lyrics, but there's some Christian thematics in there. And of course, Blasphemous Rumors. Nobody cannot say that song is not a steeped in Christian themes in Blasphemous Rumors. Black Celebration, couldn't really find too much in Black Celebration, but in Music for the Masses, we could see Sacred and To Have and to Hold. To Have and to Hold is one of my favorites. And so I'm giving you these songs because I want you to go back and kind of listen to them and tell me yay or nay, whether they work for it or not. Barry, you can do that as well if you like, sir. And Violator is Violator, you guys. There are tons of Christian themes in the lyrics, okay? So I'm gonna name a couple of them: Personal Jesus, Halo, Waiting for the Night to Fall, Clean, and Sea of Sin. Now, a lot of people, we all know that Personal Jesus, you know, is really, Martin got that song from reading Priscilla Presley's autobiography about her relationship with Elvis. We know that. We know that's where he got, Martin was going through an Elvis phase. He was reading that book, and you know, he wrote Personal Jesus. But really, you know, the song is about misplaced love. And it's funny is because when you read the quote from the book, from Priscilla Presley's book, and where Martin pulled that from, she actually says he was like my own God. He was like a God to me, is what she said. I don't even think she said my own God. I think she was like, he was like a God to me, right? He did everything, and she did whatever he told her to do. That's what she said. But what Martin does, he actually switches that and says Jesus, right? He switches it, he switches the theme, and he actually used Jesus. I think there was a story where Fletch was kind of iffy about the song coming out because he didn't want to alienate any of their fans, or he didn't want to get in trouble with the church as well. You know, Church of England. He didn't want to get in trouble with the church. So, but they went ahead. It was bold. And that became, if not their famous, but one of their most famous songs around the world. Probably their most sampled song is Personal Jesus. If he had to say your own personal God, you know, really, would we have all of this? I don't know. But so there's Personal Jesus. And actually, the Professor of Rock, he mentions that he has a very good video about Christian themes in rock songs that you didn't know were about, you know, about religion or about the Bible. He has a very good video. He does a very, very in-depth kind of a different artist. He doesn't even do Depeche Mode. He just mentions Depeche Mode, but he does a couple of different artists. And I had no idea. I was loving these songs. And I was like, oh, really? That song, that's what that's about. Okay, so that's cool. So in Songs of Faith and Devotion, it's Songs of Faith and Devotion. Devotee. It's Songs of Faith and Devotion, you guys. There are 11 songs. Isn't that like all the songs on Songs of Faith and Devotion? Completely Christian thing. I Feel You, Walking in My Shoes, Condemnation, Mercy in Me, Judas, Get Right With Me, Rush, One Caress, Higher Love, My Joy, Death's Door. The whole like Songs of Faith and Devotion is, you know, latent with, I mean, it's just like, I don't know, it's a Christian album. I think that's what it is. Ultra, there's Barrel of a Gun, Love Thieves, Home. Oh my gosh, Home. You guys, Home is so beautiful. Home, Sister of Night, and The Bottom Line. Exciter, that album, Shine, When the Body Speaks, Breathe. Playing the Angel, again, tons of Christian themes. A Pain That I'm Used to, John the Revelator, Suffer Well, The Sinner in Me. Precious, Mackerel, I Want It All, Nothing's Impossible. Damaged People, Darkest Star, okay? Sounds of the Universe, you have In Chains, Little Soul, Peace, Jezebel, The Sun and the Moon and the Stars. Delta Machine, you have Welcome to My World, Angel, Heaven, You Should Be Higher, Alone, Goodbye, okay? Spirit, didn't see too much in that, but you guys let me know. Memento Mori, my favorite song from Memento Mori, So With Me. So those are some of the songs that I was able to kind of extract from their albums, just to let you guys know that there are a lot of Christian themes. And then you also have some covers of some of that. We have some great covers by Johnny Cash. Johnny Cash did a great cover of Personal Jesus. We also had, I didn't like it for a long time, but now I do like it. Marilyn Manson did Personal Jesus, and his rendition of Personal Jesus is actually pretty cool. So kudos to Mr. Marilyn Manson for his cover of Personal Jesus. Now, while we know that there's a lot of, people have said it, even Martin has said it, that he really only writes about a few things. Let's go ahead and I wanted to mention something that I thought was interesting though. So during the Spirit Tour in 2017, there was a Depeche Mode takeover page. And so there was a contest. If you were a devotee, you can go ahead and you write in or send in a video, and then you were chosen to take over their Facebook page for one day. This was leading up to the tour. A lot of people were chosen. People that I knew was chosen. DJ Dark Crystal was chosen to take over the page. It was great. It was wonderful. It made a lot of the fans happy. Plus, you also had the film come out. So they just did a lot of promotion and a lot of marketing for this particular album. The reason why I didn't participate in that particular contest, because Dave Gahan did a promotional video for that contest. You guys can go find that promotional video. It was on their Facebook page, and you can find it on YouTube. And in the background of him, he's talking, it seems like he's reading off, a teleprompter, just to let everybody know that there's going to be a contest. They're going to give a day to a fan, and this is what happened. You can see that he seems a little bit uncomfortable. He seems a little bit like, oh my gosh, I got to do this thing. Seems like they had to do a couple of different takes, because you can see how the video is edited. However, in the background, very visible in the background of that video, is a picture of Beth Lamette. Now, if you guys don't know who Beth Lamette is, go look it up and go see who Beth Lamette is. But as soon as I clicked on that video, this was back in 2017, and on the Depeche Mode Facebook page, oh my gosh, excited this is going to happen. Clicked on it to see Dave's video, his promo. There's a Beth Lamette in the back of his video. I don't know if Dave knew who Beth Lamette was. I don't know if he knew that thing was behind him. I don't know. We don't know. We don't know if somebody said, hey, you got to meet here. You got to do this promo, stand right here, just read this off, then you can go. And that's just what he did. But I can just tell you, it broke my heart. It definitely broke my heart. And I thought that I was the insane person, because I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that he's standing in front of like a Beth Lamette, photo. Till I went on YouTube, and that video is up there, and it's a ton of people that are like, they're not angry. They're just kind of like, hey, Dave, dish the devil, this, you could have done without the devil behind you, So I thought that was interesting that did happen. And I think that it's worth mentioning, because we here at Melanin Monarch, we talk about the stuff that y'all don't want to talk about. We talk about the things about the band that y'all don't want to talk about. That's what I do. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to engage you, to talk about all of that kind of stuff. So, again, like I said, we don't know. And then, people have said some things about all of his tattoos. Now, you guys, tattoos. My son has a bunch of tattoos that first of all, I would never want my baby to have tattoos. I'm saying my baby, he'll be 25 next week, you guys. And I'm like, he has a bunch of tattoos on him, and these tattoos tell a story. And I am one that never wants to take away from somebody's personal experience here on this earth and their story. If you decide you want to write it all over your body, whether it's pasty white or caramel cream colored like my son, go ahead if you want to do that. I particularly would not do that. You don't see none, here you see a piercing, but you don't see. I would not do that. And so people talk about Dave's tattoos, and they talk about, there's some unsavory imagery amongst his tattoos. And there's also accusations of Freemasonry. Haven't really seen that, but I just wanted to put that out there. So I would argue that there isn't any type of satanic tone in their music. The way other music, you can definitely hear it there, but I wouldn't say that there is anything. I just hear a lot of frustration with God. I hear a lot of frustration with the church. I hear a lot of themes as far as in the Bible, as far as questioning, those type of things in their music. But that's what we all do. We all do. We question these things. And according to Martin's upbringing and Dave's upbringing and Fletcher's upbringing and these guys' upbringing, then they felt comfortable enough to express those type of accusations. And another reason why I don't think that any of them overtly, satanic or devilish is because in the song, they warn you about the devil in a lot of the songs, like Pain That I'm Used To. Now, I'm pretty sure that they equate the devil to their vices, right? To their addictions. I'm pretty sure that they're equating that, but there's a lot of warning in that. And so when you listen to the Depeche Mode songs and you're thinking about the Christian themes within the Depeche Mode songs, there are different voices too, right? It's not just the singer just talking up to God, right? So there's a voice of the saint, right? So you have the voice of the person that's actually living the righteous life, but frustrated or maybe even accepting of some things, of the good things like Home and Soul With Me, where those are reverential type of worship songs. And then you have the sinner, right? This is one of the voices in their Christian theme, one of the voices that are talking, where you look at Walking in My Shoes and you're looking at condemnation. This is the sinner talking to God, right? And then you're looking at the accuser, right? This may be the person that's outside and say, hey, you're a fool for following that faith. You're a fool for believing in God. All of that stuff is made up. It's not real. And you can see that, or just blatant frustration. You can see that in John the Revelator, and you can also see that in Blasphemous Rumors. You also see that in Love Thieves, right? They're accusations against the church. So those are the accusers. Then you also hear their themes. It's almost like in some of the songs, God talking to them. So it's in the voice of God saying, and you have Get Right With Me from Songs of Faith and Devotion. You have Free Love. You have You Should Be Higher, right? So those are the voices, the saint, the sinner, the accuser, and God himself actually speaking to his creation. But I think that if you're looking at the Christian theme of Depeche Mode, most of the perspective is from the perspective of the sinner. It's from the perspective of the sinner. So, but we also have to think about devotees. I'm talking to devotees. I'm talking to people who really, really love Depeche Mode. Even if you don't, there are just some songs that you really like. These songs got us through. These songs really got us through some tough times in our lives, maybe some joyful times, but you know the songs that have actually gotten you through. The Depeche Mode songs that you can go back and you can listen to, and it brings a smile to your heart, or it just allows you to be vulnerable. Remember, we talked about the vulnerability in their music. Some of the songs are, of course, love songs, right? They're love songs, but love songs, you can also substitute those love songs. Instead of being one of the guys to a female, it could also be, them to God or God to them. So you can hear a lot of that, especially in Nothing's Impossible and in Halo. In those particular songs, you can hear that. You can hear that there's, worship songs basically to the Heavenly Father. And then Martin sneaked in some Christian imagery in songs like In Chains. And of course, Halo is just really, really late. And it's from Violator. Violator. I got to tell this one thing because I've told the story before and I'm going to say it again. When I was a teenager, Violator came out. I believe Violator came out in 1989. I was still in high school at that time. I had the tape of Violator. And I was driving my mother's car. This is back in Detroit, Michigan. I'm driving my mother's car all the time. So I went to go pick up, I don't know what the occasion was, but my cousin Nikki was over. Okay, she's my older cousin. She's 2 years older than me. My cousin Nikki was over. We get in the car and she sees the tape in the console part of the car. She picks up the tape, she looks at it, and she goes, "Is this a gospel tape?" And I started laughing because I never thought about it that way. You guys have heard me tell the story before. I've never thought about it like that. And I just laughed and I said, no, it's not a gospel, because she's reading, it's called Violator. She's reading the actual titles of the song. So in her mind, back in Detroit, she's like, is this a gospel tape? And that was funny for me. But even though that there's a lot of imagery in that, and we love the band, I think that Personal Jesus, we talked about Personal Jesus earlier, it's a warning against idolatry. It's a warning against somebody looking at another person as their savior, as the person who's going to do everything for them, when that should only be reserved. And, because of that, some people, it's funny is because I heard this actually earlier this year, it was last year. Somebody commented on one of the Facebook pages and said that devotees are all in a cult. And I was a little bit fuming about that, because I'm like, if you know anything about cults, devotees are certainly not cults. But I needed to stop and ask myself, why was I upset that person said that devotees are everybody who loves Depeche Mode, they're a part of a cult. And that's not the first time that somebody has said that. And so I just want to warn everybody that the gentlemen of the band, past or present, they are human beings. They are very, very fallible, and they have never, ever called any of their fans to do something particular. Never asked a fan to come wearing something to any of their shows. Never asked a fan to follow anything. Never asked a fan to purchase anything. Never asked a fan to do anything cult-like. Not in their music, not in their lyrics. Never have they done that. They've actually ran from their fans. I mean, like, Piero, gone. Now you had this past tour where Martin they were playing good cop, bad cop, him and Dave. Dave looked like he had an attitude towards everybody. Martin was actually popping up, showing himself in different places so that fans can spot him. It was like, where's Waldo? It was like, where is Martin? And so they've just been kind, as far as I know. Remember, I've never met these people. I've never actually met them. A lot of you guys have met them. I've spoken to quite a few of you who've actually had conversations with members of the band, who've actually met members of the band. And so I can only go off of their experiences. But in speaking on that, sometimes it's not the best experience, because you may catch them on an off day, as we've heard many people who meet people that they admire and they catch them on an off day and they're not so nice. So we want to be careful about that. There is a person, her name is Tiffany Haynes, and she said this. And another lady that I follow, her name is Tiffany Montgomery. She actually repeats what Tiffany Haynes says. And she says this, and this is talking about idolatry. She says, your reward for idolatry is that narcissist you got with. And so that's just saying, if you have in your past at any time, or currently now, have a relationship with somebody that is a narcissist, you have to ask yourself, you have to check your idolization of people, or even of that situation. So if let's just call it a dating situation, and that person, you're like, everybody's telling you this person is a narcissist, right? You can't be like, oh, they're so bad. You have to actually look within and say, what is it about me that I didn't realize that about that person? Because I'm idolizing, A, the relationship, B, whatever I think that person is going to give me, and C, I'm not in a mental space where I can actually think for myself, right? So I want to be careful, because a lot of people have accused Depeche Mode devotees as being a part of a cult, as idolizing. I've even had to question that myself, because I'm all in. I am all into Depeche Mode. I don't know why is this band and not another band. And I have gotten around my peoples, the peoples that are just like me, who love this band, who have merch, who go to the conventions, right? Why is there a convention? But I just wanted to kind of remind us to be mindful about putting people on a pedestal, because they will certainly disappoint you. They will most certainly disappoint you. And through Dave and Martin's own admission, they're constantly reminding us of their imperfections through their music, through their interviews, through their life. You can see their life. They're not hiding their imperfections. So if we are idolizing these men, that's on us, because they have constantly said that they're human beings and they're not perfect. They were just given this gift, and they kept rolling with it for over 40 years. And so we have to be mindful of idolatry. Now, we love all the themes, right? We love the Christian theme, faith, love, lust, political, death, divorce, drugs, forgiveness. We love their songs because they're singing about the human condition. That's the thing, is that they're singing about the human condition. And when you're human and you have all of these experiences, it's not unusual to call on your creator for help or even for frustration. Why did this person die? Why does this person die? Are you laughing at me? Are you laughing at me? Are you laughing at my pain? Do you think this is funny that this person who had everything in their life to live for is now dead? That kind of thing. Or even, help me. You know what? I have an addiction. I have this thing on me. Help me. Or I'm lonely, or, I really want to tell this person that I love them, and I just don't know how to tell this person that I love them except through a song. So I love the Christian imagery inside of Depeche Mode lyrics. I love that part of them. I think most of us, whether we want to admit it or not, are attracted to that part of this band. That is a huge draw for that part of this band. But while we're celebrating today, Depeche Mode Day, we call it Depeche Mode Day, while we're going to celebrate on Sunday the Depeche Mode convention, while we're doing all this celebration, and we sing their songs and we wear their merch and we profess ourselves as devotees, I want us to be careful about who we lift up, because really, you guys, there's only one human being who ever lived that should be higher, right? There's only one person who ever lived that we should reach out and touch faith. There's only one person who we should call on, and that's Jesus Christ. He's the only begotten of the Father. He is the one that should be he is our Savior, and yes, Christ is King. So I wanted to leave you guys with that. I love you with all of me, and I will see you tomorrow, Saturday at 3 p.m. We're going to be doing 3 p.m. live. We're not going to be doing 6 p.m., but we're going to be doing 3 p.m. live tomorrow. Tomorrow is day 7. That is the last day, and I will see you then. Toodle bit.